When the hills of Los Angeles, I'm in those Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying, la, 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 la. Yeah, Los Angeles.
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. It's time for another episode of Corner of the Galaxy from the Box, the show that gets you behind the scenes of the LA Galaxy and into the mind of soccer reporters and MLS experts. Your hosts for the day are Corner of the Galaxy's Josh Guesman and LA Times soccer reporter Kevin Baxter. Let's start the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy from the Box on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm your host, Josh Guesman, coming to you on Monday, August 18th. The LA Galaxy getting ready for a two-game week. Only one of them matters, and as a matter of fact, the whole season could come to an end on Wednesday night at 8:45 p.m. when they face off against Pachuca in League's Cup quarterfinals. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about the loss to Miami, 3-1 loss to Messi and friends. Talk a little bit about that game, what we can learn from it, and maybe what it'll tell us a little bit about Wednesday. But eventually the Galaxy will wrap up with Colorado on Saturday. So a lot of games to be played here. We're going to be talking about all of them. And to help me do all of that, being that Mr. Kevin Baxter is once again a baseball reporter, we are glad to have from the Southern California News Group, one of my favorite people, Mr. Damian Calhoun. Damian, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, Josh. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, always a pleasure, bud. Always nice. Damian and I sit next to each other in the press box, so glad to bring a little bit of that what is it, camaraderie that we have in the press box. I don't know about that. We mostly just make fun of each other.
Yeah, it's camaraderie. We know each other a long time, and even though the season's almost over,
yeah,
we're still there.
We still have to go to the game, right? We're still there. We'll still be in the press box till it ends. No, it's always good, sort of looking at it. I think Damian gets a really good perspective on the LA Galaxy, and usually we get there about the same time, sit and talk a little bit about the Galaxy and sort of think what we see. For me, Damian, I was a little surprised with Miami, and not the result. I expected the result. I was surprised Messi played. Which is evident if you go back on Thursday where I said I really don't think he's going to play because I just didn't think there was a risk reward for it before going and playing their League's Cup quarterfinal game on Wednesday. So I was surprised that they did that. I was also surprised by Greg Vanney and how he tried to, I think, rotate into the defense and do some of the things that he tried to do there to start the game. And then I was surprised by the amount of minutes that everybody ended up playing on the flip side in the second half. So I think there were a lot of sort of things that caught me by surprise. And with the Galaxy 1-1 in the 70-plus minute, you thought that maybe there would be some reward for trying to fight that a little bit. I don't know if we got that. What'd you sort of think overall about Miami?
I sort of also thought, 1-1, you hoping to get out there with a draw. But one thing that sort of crossed my mind early around halftime, I think the announcer was like, how many of these players will be taken off for a second half? So I was thinking that maybe he's taking a sub guys off. But you get the Paintsel goal come so early in the second half. And then 1-1, I guess you got to go for it.
That's the thing. Do you, though? Is there – because I was sort of lulled into that too, right? I was watching it, and I saw Greg sort of make the moves and I was trying to anticipate what was trying to happen, like we're always doing whenever we're doing it. It was a long day of driving trains. I got home just in time for kickoff, so I was like jumped in, and all of a sudden I look at the lineup, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's some things there, right? With Yoshida not being on the team sheet again, and there's going to be a match day -1 press conference tomorrow morning on Tuesday. We'll be able to sort of find out what I imagine that Yoshida is going to be able to play. I think this was precautionary, but it's certainly a question mark now whenever he doesn't even make travel with the team. But because of that, you put Cerrillo back there, and let's get to the starting lineup just so we can do it. Again, the LA Galaxy 3-1 losers to Miami on the night. Again, the result not that surprising. Starting lineup for the LA Galaxy had Mitrovic, Yamane, Cerrillo as a center back next to Zonka, and then next to Nelson. And then in the middle, you had Royce and Parente and Winder. Winder, a sort of a little surprise inclusion there. Gabriel Peck, Joseph Paintsel, and Diego Fagundes. Now, they sort of had Paintsel as the 9 there too, Damian, which Greg talked about and said, hey, we thought we were hopefully going to catch him a little bit by surprise early in that first half and get Joe in back behind, the Miami defense. And I'm somebody on record, and you sort of saw it with Joseph Paintsel's goal. Miami defense is not good. If you can play the ball in behind them and get them, you can score a lot of goals. And yes, they will boat race you and probably score a whole bunch of goals themselves, right? That type of thing. But I don't disagree with that. I don't love the Cerrillo in there. And I think it showed in the second half. That was really my biggest argument. It wasn't the problem with Cerrillo playing center back so much in the first half, but Cerrillo playing center back in the second half when I thought the Galaxy were more of a complete team, sort of showed that, he shouldn't be playing center. Yeah, he's not a center back. It's not a criticism of him. He's just not a center back.
Yeah. When we've seen it, I think we've seen it a handful of times since he's been with the Galaxy, but I don't think and maybe against LAFC, I think last year he might have started, I believe. But Miami's a different animal. Their movement off the ball is just unbelievable when they're in a tight spot above their 18, whatever, and they're still moving around. Their guys are moving, and I mean that's tough for any normal center back. So especially it'd be really tough for like a 6 going back there and trying to manage everything.
Yeah, I thought Cerrillo got pulled apart a bunch in the first half. I thought, the pairing with Zonka and Cerrillo's not perfect either, and that's another thing. Although, if I went and read the Discord, everybody was like Zonka's the worst player ever, and then I watched most of that game, and I was like, I don't think that was the Zonka problem most of those, but hey, everybody blames him anyway, so you might as well take it. But I mean, Damian, you and I talked a little bit before we got started. I'm a big believer in team chemistry. I like team chemistry, and sometimes you need glue guys, right? Like Martin Cáceres last year, chemistry guy. He got hurt, and then he was still in the locker room. He's still keeping everybody together, doing the whole thing. He's keeping it. We've talked, and I have lauded the team leadership that Eric Zavaleta brings, and it is underplayed. Like, you and I hear about it. We can tell people about it, but nobody's going to know the true effect of it. But if you talk to the guys, you know that Eric Zavaleta in the locker room is important. But in this case, you have a center back, Eric Zavaleta, who you can put in, who then puts Cerrillo in his normal spot. And I thought you had at least a good comment that, what are you going to play? Eric Zavaleta can't go, 70 minutes or 80 minutes. He's just not in the shape to do it. And sort of like, then why? Then why have Eric Zavaleta? Then why not play him? Why not put him in? Unless there's something physically wrong with him, why not put him in that position? Because I don't think you could get worse, and I think the Galaxy feel in a more comfortable spot. I felt like the Galaxy played the first half in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah, I still don't think you would play him 60, 70, but maybe 1-1, 75th minute. I mean, he came on the other night against, who was that?
Santos?
Yeah, Santos for maybe, I don't know, maybe less, maybe about 10 minutes, whatever. I mean, maybe you do that. But yeah, I mean, he's a good guy. Got to have him around.
He's a great guy. Like, there's no that, and that's not a thing. I mean, just looking at how uncomfortable the problem with me is, you sort of mess with the spine with the LA Galaxy, and for Cerrillo and where you want to play him, you want him at the 6. I didn't mind Winder in this game. I actually thought he had some good progressions on the offensive side. I thought he had some good defensive stands. The goal that they score, that Miami scores in in that late sort of first half, it goes through Winder's spot, but Nelson's so far out of that play and so tucked in. Jordi Alba's over there sitting like all by himself all day long. So again, Winder's supposed to be taking up space and trying to stop that ball from going through there, but if it doesn't get through, it should be up to Nelson or it should be up to Zonka to sort of slide over and catch that, and there was no chance of that ball. Like, Jordi Alba got played in, and he was 15 yards clear of everybody on that side. So I didn't have a problem with that. Again, I think Winder is going to be one of those guys, along with Sanabria, that you're going to see like next year, that are sort of going to start paying dividends. Whether or not they ever truly hit their potential, Damian's sort of always up in the question mark. But I think I said it on Thursday. I tend to be a little more patient with with players than most people are, and get them all out and they're all bums, and sort of like I can be patient for a year or two and sort of wait to see what it is, because that's how you develop sort of these good players in Major League Soccer, is to have those guys. These are young guys sort of trying to play. It's not going to work this year. I mean, that's clear, but I just thought it was funny because I talked to Joseph Paintsel afterwards, Damian, and he sort of, I thought we had a good first half and the whole day, and I'm like, I thought the first half was just not cohesive. I don't think that they were dangerous on the offensive side of things at all. And again, formationally, I felt like they were uncomfortable. And you can see when this team is uncomfortable in position, it's one of the reasons why you don't change formations, that people like always, we'll switch it up and make things, okay, we'll do it and make people still feel comfortable. Because as soon as this LA Galaxy team isn't comfortable, you can see it. They start getting torn apart, especially through the middle, through the defense. And that's how, Miami scores that first goal. Yeah, and that's one thing we've noticed since Greg has been here, really. Once they shift out of their normal formation, you see how uncomfortable they look. I actually talked to Winder before the team departed about his season, really. And he just spoke about how it took a while for him to sort of get, he started playing early on in the season. Then he sort of, I think Greg went away from him for a while. It was tough to get back on the field. He went down to Ventura County for a handful of games. And he sort of, worked his way back up. And what he's trying to figure out is his positioning. I mean, he said that he likes to sit in the middle and get forward a lot, and Greg's asking him to do different things, and they're sort of figuring out, what's the best way they can use him going forward. Like him, and once they're officially eliminated from everything, I guess, I think you got to run out Sanabria and Winder just to see what you have. A lot. Because you paid some serious money for both of them, and you just got to see what you have. Yeah, especially on the Sanabria side, which, again, to me, he looks the part, and I know people disagree. He looks the part when I see him play, and I'm like, okay, yes, and then there's always this big no, right? Mm-hmm. And in this game, there's a big no. Now, let's preface, please. Let's have a little bit of perspective, because I saw it last night. Even whenever I talked to Greg afterwards, I was trying to make sure I had perspective on what we saw and what happened. Lionel Messi doesn't play the first 45 minutes. He comes into the second half. The Galaxy actually score through Joseph Paintsel, which, by the way, a direct run. Greg's talked a little bit about Joseph Paintsel and said, when he's more direct, he's more dangerous. And that was what you sort of saw from Joe on that left-hand side in that corner. And, the goal that nobody knew was a goal, one of those that he scores. He's been more or less, Joseph Paintsel has been contributing in the last 12 games. He's probably there. I think he is their top goal scorer through that time. He's the guy who's been providing. Is it at the same level that we saw last year? No, but it is starting to build, and he's starting to build some momentum, and he's starting to look a little bit better and a little more comfortable and not as frustrated. And there's a whole bunch of things that are starting to work, I think, for Joseph Paintsel. So that's the positive side. The big no on Sanabria comes when Sanabria gets on the field and Lionel Messi gets the ball in the center of the field, and Sanabria bites harder than most marlin in the fishing tournament. He went one way. I said this when I saw it. My wife goes, "What did you just say?" Because my wife is not a Top Gun fan, which drives me crazy. But I go, "Didn't you get him?" I said, "No." I go, "He went this way, we went that way." I said to Hollywood, "Where'd he go?" Hollywood said, "Where'd who go?" And that was Sanabria. Where'd who go? What? Was I supposed to be marking? Because he went one way, Messi went the other way. And then you get the shot from, the left foot from the top of the box. I mean, Lionel Messi's made, a career off of that shot, and you knew it was going. I'm also disappointed in Yamane there. I thought Yamane could have stepped up and closed that gap too. You have to do something there. Greg Vanny called out Sanabria afterwards, and not in a mean way, but just sort of said, Lucas has to be more mature there and understand that either you foul there or you have to slow him down in order to let other people come over and try to do it. But Damian, I think the real thing, and what I said to Greg afterwards, is you're not the first people to be victimized in the second half by a goal and an assist from Lionel Messi, right? And that's also part of this, is that I watched that first goal. Yeah, the Galaxy could have done better. The second goal, I mean, a little flick out to Suarez, and everybody was going the other direction. And Suarez has been waiting for that ball the whole night and just buries it and that type of thing. So, do you think the 1-1 sort of lulled the Galaxy into, especially Greg Vanny, into believing they had a chance in that game?
Yeah, I think so. 1-1. What was it? 60th minute, sort of, when Joseph scored. Um, Man, it's a tough call because you know, and at some point Messi's going to get a shot to win the game. He's going to do something to affect that game. Even like last year when they played him here, what was it, like the 88th minute or whatever? He sort of had his moment. Yeah, I think 1-1 just sort of lulled him in, like, hey, we're here, we got a chance, we're on the road, we got a chance to take something from this game. And then guys end up going longer than what he probably expected.
Yeah.
And you go out there with 3-1 loss. So.
We can be. I think it's objective to say that this game didn't matter to the Galaxy. I mean, yes, in the grand scheme of things, sure, they're not out of the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs. We know that, right? We're not sitting here counting. I mean, all we're waiting for is the little like check mark next to their name on the standings that says they've been eliminated from the playoffs, right? So, and we know that's coming sooner rather than later. So you don't have a deep team. You go across the country where it is hot and humid. You have a quarterfinal for the only meaningful game that you have left in this calendar. I mean, a Campeones Cup. Listen, that's a really cool exhibition. It's not, yes, will it have some meaning when the Galaxy get there? Sure. Okay, whatever. It's a cup and you get to put it in the thing and it'll go right next to the wooden spoon if they keep it up, right? So it's just not that important. But you have the quarterfinals. It's Wednesday. You're traveling across the country. You know how much I hate body clock and I hate travel, and it just drains everybody. And now you have Gabriel Peck, which by the way, Greg Vanny said afterwards, suffering, one of a few guys who are suffering from food poisoning. And so we're sick and was not 100%. So you play, Gabriel Peck goes 80 minutes. Certainly you could see from him, I think there was a little bit of lack of intensity. I sort of looked at it in the heat as a heat thing, Damian. Now I can go back and sort of look at it as a food poisoning thing. So you play him, Marco Royce probably goes longer than you want him to, Joseph Paintsel played 90 minutes. I asked him afterwards, I'm like, you played the whole game. Are you good? Like, he's like, I'll be fine. Like, which they always say, but it feels like lulled into the allure of getting something in Miami. Did you jeopardize something for Wednesday night? And I think you have a good perspective because certainly, I think Greg sort of was talking about it earlier about the extra day. Tell everybody about the extra day. It's sort of what Greg's philosophy was on that.
Yeah, I don't have it officially. I know. I think last year he broke it down the extra day. When you go Saturday to Wednesday, you're not playing on that Sunday. So you play on Saturday. You get that extra day of Wednesday. You play them late too on Wednesday. So
right,
maybe that's another day added on there.
It's almost Thursday, really, when you think about it.
Pretty
right?
much. Yeah. So I mean, the way guys recover, I would assume if they left. I don't know when they probably left late Saturday night. Nobody was in Sunday. Guys might have been in Monday, but tomorrow might be the first day they're all back together on the field. Not doing anything heavy though.
Right. Yeah, they're walking. I mean, they're walking, right? So today's Monday. They have today off. What was the schedule? I have it in front of me. I should probably just.
I didn't see the schedule arrive yet, but it's. I don't think it's anything heavy today if they were in or tomorrow. Tomorrow might be like a set piece day or something like that.
Yep. I think you said so. I think Sunday was recovery. Monday it was training AM. Tuesday they have, but it's walkthrough day. It's a walkthrough day. You have a game on Wednesday, so you're not doing anything. So
you're not going to do anything. And if the guys do come out, they're going to be gone early anyway. They're going to go out and be back in, so they can start continue recovery. Getting their massages and all that stuff. It's a tough choice. Like I say, 1-1, the competitor in you thinking we can do this.
Yeah.
But you're not thinking about Wednesday. The game you must-win game you got to have. You're not. I don't think you're really thinking. You're not thinking too far in advance from just the moment that was Saturday night.
And maybe you're looking at, maybe I look at it wrong. With Cerrillo playing more of the center back position, he wasn't doing as much running, so maybe that's some rest for him, right? So you can look at it that way. Yoshida not even playing again. I didn't hear anything, but we will ask on Tuesday to make sure. I feel like it was just rest, where it was like, hey, he's been dealing with stuff. We don't need to worry about him traveling all the way to Miami. Stay home. Be ready for Wednesday night. I believe that's what the case is going to be. And who knows? He could have been one of the food poisoning guys too that we don't know about, right? And so then he's like, I don't feel good. I'm out, right? That type of thing. Yeah. So that could have been it too. So like you do that. looking at subs and sort of where Cuevas comes in, Sanabria comes in, Julian Aude comes in, right? So you're sort of able to I guess Aude, who's probably going to be doing some of the heavy lifting on Wednesday night. I would expect that he starts instead of coming off the bench. Fagundes though went 80 minutes. That's, love me some Diego Fagundes, but we know he's getting older, right? So he knows it too. He just doesn't like to say it. So
yeah, I think you see Aude and Cuevas start Wednesday.
Yeah, and so you did rest them. You did rotate them, right?
Rested them. Then you hope you rested your center back pairing, Garces and Yoshida.
Yep.
But I guess we'll find out tomorrow what their availability is. And then Marco doesn't. He went 80. He went 90, but it's like his 90s are different than everybody else's 90s. It's just like, but still in the heat though, that's a draining 85, 90 minutes for sure though.
Yep. Yeah, no, and so you're starting to see that little bit of rotation. So I guess when you look at it from that perspective, there's more rotation than you think there is, right? There's more fresh bodies sort of in there than you think there are. And so maybe that goes. I just, I know Marco Reus is sort of on his own game plan, right? He gets to decide whenever he needs to come out, and he gets to decide what he needs to do. But sometimes it's sort of like, hey, dude, it's 3-1. Like, get off the field as fast as possible. Like, it's 2-1, get off the field. 1-1, get off the field. It didn't. The game did not matter to the extent of what Wednesday is, and that really leaves me sort of if you jump over Wednesday, what does Saturday look like for Colorado, right? Because you're like. Ventura County's going to get called up. That's what it's sort of like, this is tiring. This is a season, trying to put that into perspective. I didn't hate the way the Galaxy played in the second half, by the way, Damian. Like, outside of the Messi stuff and stuff, I thought they started to create chances. Again, put Nascimento into another guy who got some rest. I don't know that he needed it, but he got it. Putting Nascimento sort of into that 9, and all of a sudden the Galaxy start clicking again. You put him into a little bit more of a better position. I think that they played a little bit better. Naive to the fact that Lionel Messi is going to definitely get a goal in there and certainly going to get some good looks. And if in a perfect world this game was being played on a different day, then Cerrillo is probably in the position that Sanabria is whenever Sanabria bites on the fake, and Cerrillo probably is a little better. Cerrillo seems to love playing against Lionel Messi, so I sort of miss the fact that those two weren't on top of each other for the second half there, and could have seen something. So.
Yeah, he probably should have ran behind and just whacked him and just took the foul.
Listen, you and I were talking about, like, if you do foul Messi there, then you have to worry about the free kick, 100%. But, it's one of those, it's like, yeah, we'll take the foul on the yellow card there and then make him make the free kick at least, because otherwise he was going to an open spot where he's going to make it, 75% of the time. I feel like the free kick, then you still have a little bit of a chance to defend. By the way, not much. Like, you have a 30% chance of that ball not going in, but, from where he sits with that left foot and sort of putting there. But, it's just, we've seen this LA Galaxy team. Greg has talked about it. We've talked about it on this show. I know you and I have talked about it. They're not deep. There is no depth. So anytime you move a piece around, you're hurting the team. Right now, we know that there's a starting 11, and then there's probably 2 other guys that you're going to bring into the game that can still match the intensity of everything else that is going on. So as the Galaxy sort of head to Pachuca, that's what we know what the starting 11 is. Greg Vanny knows what the starting 11 is. Pachuca is going to know what the starting 11 is. It's it's going to be bread and butter unless somebody gets hurt and we don't know about it. That type of thing. That's the only thing that's going to change things. And if it does change things, we know that is a detriment to the LA Galaxy and not a positive. And
it also just goes to show just how different a 1 year is. From the top to the bottom, you had consider yourself a pretty deep team last year, and now it's just like you just hoping nobody gets hurt, really. But
it is. I remember talking about last year and be like, well, you get to bring Gaston Brugman and Diego Fagundes off the bench. Like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. That's okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. Joveljic comes off the bench. Miguel Berry, the mystery man, the Superman himself will come off the bench, and even that was working last year, right? So it is. I mean, we can talk about the depth of this team and sort of what it takes, and it takes consistent, intelligent leadership, especially from like a GM, to make teams competitive year over year over year. And certainly with 2024, there was a window that opened up and everybody was like, hey, you got to go now because this window opens up. By the way, don't ever sit on your window and be like, don't worry, we'll be okay next year. Don't sit on that window. You know,
Ever.
Yeah, it's like poker. You go all in when you have the cards are in your favor. You better go because it's not coming back again. You're not going to see it again. And so the Galaxy chose to do that, knowing really that it was going to put them in this position this year, right? And knowing that they would have to sort of try to go with some cheaper options and move things around in order to try and build up some of that again. I think it's going to pay off in some ways for next season. But this year, it's tough. The only thing the Galaxy can sort of hope to do, Damian, is not battle over 34 games, but try to battle over, 7 or 8 games, for like Leagues Cup. It's shorter. The intensity can be shorter. The success and the failure can be shorter. And so for that reason, the LA Galaxy are probably built better for that than anything else that they could do this year, right? Because you're not deep. So you're talking about a tournament run that you're able to get some results in. You have the home field advantage, which we talked about so many times in the U.S. Open Cup, and why Seattle used to win so many U.S. Open Cups is because they just had home field advantage all the time whenever there was a bidding mechanism for that. So the less road games you can play, the better off you're going to be. So the Galaxy have a little built-in advantage playing at home. Now, they haven't been good at home this year, but they have a little bit of a built-in advantage playing at home, at least sleeping in their own bed. So for me, that's why Leagues Cup becomes so important. But we're talking about a game that is going to be played on the 20th. Yeah, the 20th, right? So August 20th, Damian, that if the Galaxy lose, their season will be over. That's pretty hard to do. That's hard to be a midweek in August and say, hey, your season's done. With 9 games left in the regular season, you don't have anything else to play for if you lose that game against Pachuca. Is that there's already an understanding for that whole scenario, but I mean, what do you see from the Galaxy and Leagues Cup and just sort of how they've approached it and maybe how they've gotten lucky or not lucky in it so far? But they're not too many games away from a possibility of a CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Oh, was it at least 2 wins away? Right?
Yeah. So if they win tonight, then the next game could possibly will be a semifinal, and that could put you into a position of playing. If you lose the semifinal, you go to the third place game, right? Yes. Does that work? Yes, it does, because the semifinal winners go to the final. The semifinal losers go to the third place game. So if you win against Pachuca, you will be playing for a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot. The next game. The
only problem is that'll probably be against Seattle.
It could be, and that's that's all. But you know what? If you're the LA Galaxy, that's what you want. That's what you want, the team that just beat you 4-0 to have to play you again, because that's what you're hoping will sort of lay out for you. But basically, if you make it to the final, you're guaranteed a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot. If you go to the third place game, you have to win that game in order to go to the CONCACAF Champions Cup spot. So top 3 teams get it in there. But that's sort of where you're looking for the thing. I don't know where we're sort of like trying to see this LA Galaxy team in terms of this Leagues Cup. I think Sophie asked after the game if you were able to, or maybe it was even after the game before, I can't remember, whichever one it was. She asked, if you win this game, is this a good season? And Greg was sort of like, no, but like it's better. It's better when you win a cup, when you win something. And he goes, and we want to be in Champions, in Champions League and Champions and CONCACAF Champions Cup. To play there as well. But no, I mean, nobody's disillusioned by the fact that this season has been a monumental failure, one of which started with a 16-game winless streak. I still can't explain that. I watched all those games, and they shouldn't have gone 16 games without winning, but they did.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. But it feels like even in the Miami game, again, very symbolic of the rest of the season. They weren't out of that game until they were out of it. They were in that game. They were playing. There was a chance for something to happen, and ultimately Messi comes through. But in a handful of games this year, we've seen them get blown out. And in most of the games, we've seen them be competitive and come out on the losing end. I don't know how to explain that other than just the changes and the injuries at the beginning of this just didn't allow them to sort of come together.
Yeah, it's just when we sit back, and I mean, I can't wait until our end of the year conversations with Greg and try to get him to explain some of this, just what all happened. You went from December, you're a champion, in January, February, and then the start of the season, everything just turned around and went bad. That's why, I mean, whatever they went through Saturday, they got to, hit the refresh button, just go for it all on Wednesday to try and pull something from this game. Because I thought Campeones Cup was a Champions Cup spot, Champions League spot.
No. Greg was trying to make that a thing, and I'm like, you can't. Not in one game, dude. You can't.
I thought that was one, but I guess not.
No.
Well, they should. Maybe MLS will make it next year.
They get to go to the Conference League. That's what they do. They get one of those. Let's see. We had a super chat from Michael. Michael says, any word on the supporter group return to the stadium? I believe everybody's back except for Outlaws and ACB. I believe that's it. So I don't. You'd have to check on their socials, and certainly we can see it on Wednesday or on Saturday. We'll know what it is. But obviously, anytime the stadium. I'm interested to see what the mix is on Wednesday night in terms of who's going to be there. Also, I will have a rant coming in approximately 5 or 6 minutes about how late this game is. So everybody can buckle in for that as well. David had a $5 super chat. He goes, did the LA Galaxy players ask Messi for autographs or a picture? I hope not. That's embarrassing. I hate to break it to everybody, but one is no, I didn't see anything, but there were certainly people swapping jerseys afterwards and doing the whole thing. And I love that. I think that's one of the best things that can happen in the sport is that after you play, you get to go swap jerseys and you get to go do that. And I have never have any issues with that. I think that's about the extent of it. The whole deal there. So I don't care about that. I know people put like these professional athletes, and Damian, you cover athletes across all sorts of different sports and different ages, and whether it's like prep and high school or professional soccer players or anywhere else. I mean, you take these guys out of the game environment, and even after like the whistle blows and that type of thing, they're all soccer players and they all appreciate each other, and they all, for the most part, sometimes there's melees on the way down the tunnel, but for the most part, everybody's like, no, that's what it was. We played, we either won, we lost, that happened. And hey, dude, I really appreciate you. Why don't we swap shirts? Because that'd be kind of cool. Like I want to have these, so I never have any problems. It's one of those things. Reporters aren't allowed to ask for autographs. That's the only rules. That's really it.
Or maybe after a game, reporters should trade notebooks or something. Hey, here's my notebook.
We should just trade shirts, and we should do it. We should just right off. We could go with the players. Don't you think Joseph Paintsel wants to wear this drip I have on right now? I think for sure. I was my youngest came in just beforehand, and he saw Joseph Paintsel on one of my slides, and he was like, "Oh, I have his bobblehead," because he does have a Joseph Paintsel bobblehead. And I go, "Yeah, do you know he's also a singer?" And he goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, he has music." And so my wife came in and my youngest was here, and I put some blessings on, and he was like, "Dad, this song is sick." He goes, "Will you play it for me on my way to school tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, 100%. You got it, bud. No problem." So, a little light in the tunnel there for sure. It is going to this Leagues Cup and looking at the LA Galaxy schedule here, and we can even pop the schedule up for a little bit. You have Pachuca coming up, then you have Colorado, then it's Dallas. Again, 6 of the 7 games the Galaxy play in August are all at home. I know because Damian, you and I have been there for like every day for, however many long. My wife was like, will I ever get to see you again? And I'm like, not in August. So we've sort of seen that play out. The Galaxy still have some games here that you're sort of like, okay, in league afterwards. But to be honest, nothing matters after Wednesday. All that matters is when your next Leagues Cup game is, because you won the one against Pachuca. And that's a weird sort of focus to put on this team, because so often I will be the first one to, sort of dismiss Leagues Cup as whatever it is. Do you think that the way things have changed this year in Leagues Cup, only 4 from each side advancing, do you think that has given the tournament more validity, less validity? Do you like the changes? Do you want MLS to go to this?
I like the changes, but I've heard that there's an outcry of people saying 4's not enough. But there's also people who said 9 playoff teams is too much. So who knows? Maybe 6 whenever the next installment is. I don't know how they do it next year with the World Cup coming in, and then what the status is with 27 in the calendar. Who knows what happens then? Maybe there are changes coming. Maybe there are some games you can play down in Mexico in the next installment. Who knows about that as well? But the 4, I liked it because it added something to every game, I thought.
Right.
Look, the Galaxy PK loss, they get that, they're on 5, and then you probably you finish with 8, and you're maybe second, another side of the bracket. I'm not sure you want to be against Tigers though, but who knows? You're on the other side of the bracket, Seattle got Puebla, so maybe you're on the other side, you do get Tigers. So maybe not.
Yeah, it's just in terms of how it's laying out and bracket wise, it's interesting. I mean, we can go to the bracket. I have the bracket right here. We can pull it up. Damian probably has to see it all like blurry through the camera, but I can read it to you. Seattle and the LA Galaxy on the same side, right? So you get by Pachuca, and you expect that Seattle's going to get by Puebla, and quite honestly, it should be LA and Seattle in LA. Remember, LA have home field advantage through the entire Leagues Cup for winning MLS Cup last year. So they get entire. So it will be Seattle back in LA again. And what does that look like? And can that be a competitive match? Because again, I thought the Galaxy were outclassed by Seattle, an economy of which I will keep bragging about this. Seattle plays with such an economy of energy where they will wait and they don't overrun and they don't overpass and they're just very mature and they wait. And then as soon as they have their spot, it's 100% effort. Real quick, they score a goal, and then it's back down to, okay, we're cool now. And then again, it's economy. And that's how you can score 4 goals real quick on the LA Galaxy. That type of thing.
It's also a system that Brian has up there where he just plug and play.
Yeah.
He's plugging in 18-year-old, 19-year-old, MLS debuts, and they end up scoring. It's just been that way for years.
I've joked around. I've said, Brian Spencer, he won't last very long in that position. Don't worry about whenever he took over for Siggy Schmidt. Yep, remember that well. You bring up the 2027 thing too. That we're expecting that schedule to change. I mean, everybody at this point is sort of moving in that direction. I mean, every time we talk to, GMs or coaches or players, everybody, front office people, anybody, they're all like, it seems like it's going to happen in 2027. So it's real. And how does that end up playing is certainly going to be anybody's question. But, with playoffs and everything else, I don't mind the 4 from each side. It certainly makes playoffs interesting, or certainly makes this tournament interesting, and it condenses the time limit. Imagine if MLS playoffs were condensed with only 8 teams playing. Maybe you could finish before Thanksgiving and not drag everything out until until the very beginning of December. And you'd actually have a consistent play from one, so that way you could gain momentum and keep momentum there and go through.
Yeah, well, just stick around. The playoffs are supposed to be changing too, so it's
100%.
Yeah, I think there's an overhaul coming. Maybe we should hear about it right around MLS Cup, I believe, this year. We'll hear about what's coming next. But from what you hear, what you read, there's another overhaul coming somewhere.
Yeah,
so
there's a calendar flip coming. Which
flip, playoffs and everything.
Some people love it. Some people don't love it. It's one of those.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, because the weather's never. I mean, you watch the games. I watched MLS games this weekend. I watched NWSL games, and weather was bad everywhere, except for LA and California, really. But there was you couldn't go anywhere without bad weather this weekend. It's like
I forget, it was called like the livability index, and like they put a certain temperature like cap on it, like that type of thing, and then they said, okay, like how many days fit inside the livability index, right? The whole deal, and it comes down to like the coast of LA and Orange County and that area. It's like 350 plus days is livability. Like you could be here, you're fine for 350 plus days. There's going to be 6 or 7 days that are just unbearable, but anything else 350 plus days, right? And it's just not that way. I just saw something that like record number of days, like over 100 degrees since 2000, right? And I think Oklahoma City had like 1,358 days, right? And and you could go to other places where you were sure they were going to be worse, right? But in LA, it's been, it would be like 90 days, like that type of thing since 2000. It was just really interesting to sort of see it. And you're right. Either you have cold weather up north, and you have to play all your games down, in the lower latitudes. That way you can sort of get that good weather. Or you have the hot weather where you going to want to play all your games at the northern latitudes and push those up and try to get those cooler. So there's always a balance. I'm not sure it matters anymore. Sort of looking at that. If we look at Leagues Cup, though, and let's go ahead and get prepped a little bit here for Leagues Cup. As we look at that, the LA Galaxy going against Pachuca. Pachuca currently, by the way, sitting in first place in Liga MX. So however you want to look at that, and whatever goodness you want to try to look at on that table, is that Pachuca, through 5 games played, again it's early days in Liga MX. Pachuca is coming in, I would say, as one of the better teams. That being said, they did just lose to Tijuana over the weekend, so we can sort of look at that and say, okay, there's a little stumbling block there. They lost 2-0 at home, by the way, to Tijuana. So they had that. You've seen, Pachuca sort of beat Atlas. You can go back into the League's Cup. Pachuca beat Houston Dynamo 2-1. They went to penalty kicks against LAFC back on August 1st. That game ended 1-1, and then LAFC went through 4-2 on penalty kicks. So you can look at Pachuca as, again, one of the best teams in Liga MX through 5 games, but they are usually one of the better teams. And the only other time the LA Galaxy have played them is in 2007, Damian. In 2007, it was Superliga. I believe Superliga. We have to go all the way back.
I remember that.
Were you there? I see. I was 2008 was whenever I started sort of.
Was that the year that Landon missed the PK?
It might have been. They ended up losing on PKs, I think, down in Pachuca, if I remember correctly. Or I guess with Superliga, they didn't go down to Pachuca, but whatever the return leg was, or the second game of whatever they were playing, or was it, here, I actually can pull it up because I looked at it. So basically they're saying July 24th, 2007, it was 2-1, LA Galaxy 2-1. The Galaxy claimed the win in the group stage match of the inaugural Superliga, right? And then most of those Superliga games never got played down in Mexico, if I remember correctly. I think they were all played up in the US, right? So then it was August 29th, 2007, and Pachuca and the LA Galaxy went 1-1, but the Galaxy lost on penalties 4-3. So your Landon Donovan penalty kick miss might be correct.
Yeah, I think that was it. It was. I don't want to put Landon I'll throw him under the bus, but I think that was it, where he stepped up to hit it, and I'm thinking this is over. I'm about to send my story in,
right?
And he missed it. I was like, oh my god! I was like, oh no!
Changing everything up.
Computer crash.
Yeah, David, by the way, in the chat room says, Superliga, Beckham missed a penalty, so maybe that was part of it. I think it was like a 4-2 loss, that type of thing. So it could have been, or whatever it said. Whoever missed, somebody missed.
Somebody missed. One of those guys missed.
Yep, absolutely.
I got to track down that story somewhere. 2007, a long time ago.
You'll find that byline somewhere. It's there.
Oh.
But no, so you can look at that. Speaking of Landon Donovan, came out and said that he didn't think Ricky Pooch should be. Did you see this? Ricky Pooch should be playing this season.
Man,
I disagree.
how much time do we have?
Yeah, I know, right?
That's the total opposite of what the Galaxy should be thinking right now. I think at some point you have to get him on the field, and just to get confidence back, get him moving again against other opponents. If not, he's going to sit all the way until
January,
late January.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Maybe they can schedule a friendly between. If they're done early, which they probably will be. Maybe you can schedule a friendly in there somewhere. But even then, you don't want him to play in a friendly either. So I think they gotta. If he's ready, you gotta run him out there. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever.
That's it. It doesn't matter what the score of the game is. You're going to give them 15, 20 minutes, and you're like, okay, go ahead and play. And then let them sort of get comfortable. And then the next game, you can give them another 15, 20 minutes if you want. There's no hurry to give him more than that. But you have to get his mind competitive. You have to get him to start trusting his body. I don't think Landon never got seriously injured to the point where he was out for a long time, was he? Did something happen in Germany that caused anything? I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember.
He was relatively healthy for most of his career.
Yeah, most of his career. Yeah.
And that's where I think he's missing the point. And again, I love me some LD, so it's not a vendetta against anything. It's just that you eventually have to get out there, and hearing from people who have been injured before, you have to get out there and start trusting yourself, and you have to start your mind has to be mentally sort of prepared. You are a different person after an injury, and you have to either figure out whether you're going to be the same person and be able to come back, or whether you're going to have to play differently, or what the deal is. I mean, it's going to be a harrowing experience next year when Ricky Pooch is out there. And if Ricky sort of plays the same style that he has, where he draws people in, he invites contact, and then he gets swiped out from underneath them, there's going to be a lot of holding of breaths for the entire year. Because every time he gets fouled, everybody's going to be like, oh, that's not.
I get the only thing that you can sort of lean toward Landon. I mean, it's still less than a year since the injury.
Right. Yes.
And I've seen, especially covering Angel City, they've taken, because it's different scenarios, they've taken longer than a year to get players back on the field. And I think, but some people just heal quick. I mean, he's been out there. I don't know if he's joined full training yet. but he's been out on the field with the ball moving around.
He's close. That's somebody. I forget. I think it was after Thursday night's podcast. They're like I won't hold you to it, but when do you think Ricky comes back? Like when are you expecting? I'm like, I'm in the 2 to 4 weeks at this point. I think we're a lot closer than people think, and I wouldn't be surprised if after this game in Leagues Cup, all of a sudden Ricky Pooch is back to full training, and you're sort of like, that's another week, 2 weeks of full training, and that dude's going to be out on the field. I also think you have to reward him. Again, this is not rushing him, and that's the argument. Do not leave me an argument, they can't rush him back. Nobody's saying anything, and certainly Greg Vandy isn't going to rush him back. He's been very clear about that. Yeah. When he passes all the things that he's supposed to pass, when he's able to do all the things that he's able to do, they will put him back on the field. There's checks, there's all these there are conditions that he has to meet in order to get back on the field. And they're not going to, if he can't meet, if he's 90% on one of those conditions, they're like, no, we'll wait till next week.
Yeah. And we've seen how they their process of getting guys back, their return to play is very extensive. So, but yeah, I think he might be getting a little close. Mid-September, probably. Who knows?
It's coming. It's that Campionis Cup surprise sub. He's in the Cosmo suit and he takes it off and he comes out onto the bench. That's my my scenario there. But Leagues Cup coming out again. This is an 8:45 p.m. start time. I would suggest to you that it is an 8:55 at the absolute earliest kickoff time. I would also like to possibly put out into the ether here, Damian, that they had a start time of 8:35 the last time the Galaxy kicked off at 8:56 in a doubleheader. So another doubleheader. You have on the other side of the bracket is Toluca and Orlando. Toluca is hosting. Toluca wanted to play at Dignity Health Sports Park. Now it's a doubleheader. They kick off at 6. We were talking about what is it? TV. Which TV channel is it in Mexico? Is it Televisa?
Yeah, Televisa. Yeah,
Televisa apparently cannot start a game before 6 p.m. And so that's one of the reasons that everything is moving so far back. Again, I was told that there was lots of discussion and there was lots of hope to try and not get this be a doubleheader and not have the LA Galaxy play at 8:45 on a school night. But
I read somewhere, I don't know how true it is, that they wanted Toluca to maybe move the game to a different site, but I guess they didn't want to do that either. So Orlando has to.
How come they say that the quarterfinals would take place on the 19th and 20th, and then everybody just plays on the 20th?
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like, I mean, you could have split them up. You could have went 4 and 7:30 both days, and hey, we're done. Maybe 4 o'clock in Seattle would have been kind of weird, or 4 o'clock in LA would have been kind of weird, but maybe just split them up. One, play Toluca somewhere on the East Coast, 4 and 7:30, perfect.
It would have worked, but instead you have Miami, who kicks off at 5 p.m. I believe West Coast time, right? So 5 p.m. West Coast time. Then you have Toluca and Orlando, which kick off an hour later. So the Miami game will still be going on. So that's great TV coverage for everybody. You're stacking your quarterfinal games on top of each other to where you can't watch them all. So 6 p.m. Toluca and Orlando, 8 p.m. Seattle and Puebla, 8:45 p.m. for LA and Pachuca. There is no rhyme or reason to this. It is idiotic. It is stupid. The only thing that I'm rooting for at this point is a game that starts after 9 p.m. If we're gonna do it, let's do it the wrong way. So
you might as well go all out.
Right?
Start at 9 and at midnight.
Yeah.
Just what the hell.
Yeah. Last time we were talking to Greg, he goes, is it Thursday yet? And we're like, yeah, almost. We're almost there. So that's what you have to look forward to. Just sort of looking at what you can see from Pachuca, Cadiz up top at 7.5. Listen, they have very few sort of weak spots. I'd say one of them is maybe Sanchez over on the right backside, and that's a Joseph Paintsel green light to get over there and get in behind and to cause all sorts of havoc. If you were going to have one weak spot in a Pachuca side, having it on the right side of defense where Joseph Paintsel is starting to gain some momentum and starting to do some stuff is maybe something that you're looking for. This is a team that likes to hold the ball just like the LA Galaxy like to hold the ball, so it'll be interesting to see who controls. My guess is the Galaxy will control. I think Pachuca will be looking to sort of play upset and the whole deal. But yeah, 53% average possession for the LA Galaxy this year, 50.3%. So 50% for Pachuca on that side. Shots are fairly similar in 14 and 12. Shots on goal, 8 and 5. You can sort of go through this. The Galaxy should pass the ball more. Again, that sort of leads me to believe they'll have more possession. So the 528 to 434. Just passing accuracy is usually better for the Galaxy. I mean, you can go through a lot of these and sort of try to figure out where they're going to be. The Galaxy are going to make Mitrovic work harder. Pachuca shouldn't make their goalkeeper work as hard. So it's going to be one of these games. Again, it's a must-win, Damian, and you don't win, and your season is completely over, and we have to start asking all the questions about the season being over and everything else. You win this game, you get a reprieve from that. Nobody cares what happens against Colorado. Everybody's waiting to see what the semifinal game looks like, whether you're playing Seattle or wherever. And so it extends the, let's say, the end of season talks, a little bit longer. Not that those aren't going to happen. They will. But Greg Vanny would much rather be talking to us at the end of the season and exit interviews with the League's Cup trophy sitting next to him, which I'm sure it would be, right next to the wooden spoon maybe and next to Campiona's Cup. But he'd much rather have those conversations than he would if the Galaxy go out against Pachuca. I think there's a very real chance the Galaxy do get knocked out by Pachuca. I think they're a good team. They're an experienced team. They're one of the Liga MX teams who can put up a really good fight. But whether or not they're focused enough on this, whether they want it to be, again, they just had a game against Tijuana. They'll now come up to LA to play against the Galaxy at 8:45 p.m. Maybe it's too late for them. They're just not used to it. So they'll have that game, and then they have to go back down to Mexico for their next league game, just like the Galaxy will have to go back to League's Cup or back to their league play against Colorado on Saturday. And so maybe there is more focus on the league for them right now because it's early than League's Cup. But you can't tell me that any of these 8 teams that are in there right now don't want that trophy. Yeah. And everybody knows that their key to making sure that they get into CONCACAF Champions Cup is to win the next game, right? Win the next game, get into the semifinals, have a chance to play for one of those 3 spots, and you're golden again for CONCACAF Champions Cup. And for the LA Galaxy to have a possibly worse season in Major League Soccer, worse season as a franchise, and still get a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot out of that and play next year when you and I have talked to many people about this. They believe 2026 is going to be a better year just in terms of the space, the flexibility, the ability to be more competitive across the entire roster and get CONCACAF Champions Cup in there as well after having the season that they had. That's sort of the wet dream for everybody right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just look at, having a chance just to sort of save your season, really. This is the chance here, and to make it through while finishing last place would be kind of funny.
What everybody's been joking in the chat room forever, but like the trifecta of hardware. So you finished last in MLS and you won 3 trophies. You got the wooden spoon, and then you got Campiona's Cup, and you got. I mean, let's be very clear. This is far from Liverpool playing, what was it, a couple years ago, going to like 3 finals and losing them all, right? Like this is not that, right? So you can't have that expectation. But the likelihood of them having 0 trophies this year is way higher than them having, 2 trophies, 2 positive trophies. The one on the wooden spoon side is almost a lock here. It's starting to come in there. But it at least gives the LA Galaxy a chance to focus on something again. Again, the game on Saturday won't matter if the LA Galaxy advance. The game on Saturday, whatever. Okay, it's Colorado. Who cares? The game against Dallas the following weekend won't matter if they have another game that they're going to play against League's Cup. So I'm interested in that. Very interested in the Matchday -1 press conference tomorrow. Just that way we can sort of understand who is available and who's not available, especially with some of the guys not traveling and the rotations and everything like that. So I'm interested. And the food poisoning side of that as well is also... that's something that always opens the eyes, because that stuff that can travel. That can be one of those things that, it was 3 guys and now those guys are good, but these 4 guys have it, and the whole deal. So we'll sort of.
You wonder, did it happen before there was something he ate before he left? Did it something he ate Friday night in Miami, or maybe they got there I think Thursday night? Well, there's something he ate then, so it's like. All kind of questions there. So.
And you never know. Got to watch what you eat, man. It's got to be the same thing every time. Also, A lot of those guys have younger kids now too, and I just would like to tell you that kids are germ magnets, and I am just bracing for it was first day of school today for my youngest, and I'm like, here we go again. He was healthy all summer. It's not going to last very long. We're like, maybe we can get to September without getting it. Like my wife and I were like, maybe we're definitely getting something. We're getting COVID. We're getting the flu. We're getting something. Something's coming home, and we're going to get it.
Maybe I got to change my seat in the press box.
You already have a space in between us. All right. They usually sit. You need two. I understand. We'll see what we can do. Maybe if Kevin Acevedo's listening, he can make that happen. Just let extra space, a little arm distance, right? We'll go back to COVID rules when we each had a hedge. Remember, out in the corner. Yeah, that was nice. I enjoyed that. That was one of the best parts of COVID. Not that there were good parts, but that was the best part right there. I had my own hedge.
We got our own little station, our own little work area. It was pretty. It was different. Yeah, different.
Adam, by the way, super chat $2 says you might have went over this, but is Sanabria a bust? Damian, let's get your perspective. People get tired of hearing me talk. They would love to hear you talk. Sanabria a bust?
I think a young player who hasn't settled in yet. I don't want to call a kid 22 years old, 23, whatever, 21. Yeah. Can't call him a bust. I mean, he's probably his first time away from home. I don't want to call him a bust. Not yet. But they spent a pretty penny on him there.
They did. And he's played like a bust, right? Like if you were going to have to judge him on this season, you would be like, oh, well, that didn't work.
To judge him, he hasn't lived up to what they paid for him for sure.
No. And again, just again, from my perspective, and I think everybody knows this, it's too soon. On young players. You let him, because I'm telling you, something clicks next season. He's comfortable where he lives. He's got his, he's settled into his place now. He has his routine. He's comfortable with the language. Like everything starts to like really click and feel warm and fuzzy for him. And all of a sudden, this 22-year-old who will be like, 22 heading to 23 or 21 heading to 22, all of a sudden he becomes one of the best players on the team, right? And it can happen, and there's a reason there's an incentive for U22s, Damian, right? It's because they're more risky. And so in order to sort of get that risk reward, you go down and you grab the 21-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, and you're sort of like, hey, all right, let's see what you got. And we know we're going to have to develop. He's a project. I don't disagree with people, by the way, who are like, he's a bust. This year you could say it, the whole deal. But you shouldn't be. You didn't buy him just for this year. You invested in him. Dejan Joveljic, the first year he came in, was not a settled player. You saw him settle. You saw him develop into what he is. Now he's a designated player for Sporting Kansas City. Has 10+ goal contributions, I think, in this year. He's been picking it up as of late. He's been scoring some goals. Also, it was like chess grandmaster as well. I think I saw somewhere as well. Dude is just such a monster. He's great. But no, give people time. And I think the Galaxy sometimes are guilty of giving people too much time. But you're not giving Sanabria too much time yet. Like Nascimento. You and I were talking about at the beginning of the season. You're like, nope, send that dude back, right? Like he's not going to play.
Another young guy. I mean, same with Winder. I mean, they're all young players, and it's like they're just some guys just take time. Even you look at Peck last year. He took him about a month, a couple weeks, a month, or whatever, to sort of get his feet. I mean, he went away to get married and everything, but once he came back, he was flying. Just take different time to get settled. In new country, new language, new league. I expect a lot more next year for sure.
Your favorite part of the mix zone, Damian? That's just my question. What's your favorite part of mix zone?
Man, do I like mix zone?
No, nobody likes it, but we all do it.
Yeah, maybe because we're so close to the family.
That is a fun part.
Right there. We just, hey, family, come over here and interview your players. We're so close to them.
Yeah. My favorite part of Mix Zone is harassing players to talk to us. Come on, just talk to us. We're not going to hurt. Just come on. No, I talked to you guys yesterday. No, come on, come back. That type of thing. It's more. I feel like I can convince players sometimes, or at least guilt them into talking to me. So that's always good. So yes, we will have Mix going on Wednesday night. Sometime around midnight, we will be out in the Mix Zone, and
I will probably be asleep by then.
No, we'll see, but that's where it goes. Again, all these games going directly to penalty kicks. Still, everything I think but the final goes directly to penalty kicks. So we will not have extra time if this is tied. The Galaxy go to penalty kicks. Likelihood, Damian, of the Galaxy going to penalty kicks in this quarterfinal.
See what happens. Remember last time, Greg said. What did he say when we asked him about that? He said he didn't think he he didn't think about subbing out Novak then, but maybe the next time,
John
maybe
McCarthy.
he might make a switch.
He's gonna walk out, give it a little, bring in the lefty. I don't know. I think John McCarthy's ready. But yeah, bring in John McCarthy or JT Marcinkowski. Maybe you can. But he's gonna sub both of them in, and they're both gonna stand there, and that's gonna.
He's gonna save one sub and make it in the 89th minute.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I love it. Mr. Provino says, start the final at 9 p.m. Yeah, see? That's what I think we just go late. That's it. You just have to embrace it. Body clock, right? Right, Matt? Body clock.
Body clock.
Body clock. It's all about the body clock. Anytime I say body clock, people drink. So I try to get it to keep going. Anything else on the Pachuca game that you're sort of looking forward to, or anything else that has tipped you in the LA Galaxy fate? You and I sit down. I want to be real about this. So, this is something we really do. First, I say hi to Damian. I come in. He's usually got there a little bit before me, but not much.
He tries to hug you, and I say, no, get away from me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I always try. I try to bring the love. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, good. And then we sit there, and then we talk about what the food is. I'm like, what's the food tonight? He's like, it's this. I'm like, okay. All right. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll go get pupusas. And so we do that. And then usually we give Daniel some crap about something, and then he gives us crap about something. That's good. Okay, so then we're settled there. And then we sit there and go, what happened this season? Because we have been trying to figure it out since we started watching this team this year. And I can give you all the things that happened, Damian, in chronological order in terms of this happened and this happened and this happened, and that led to this, this, and this. But nowhere in my heart of hearts do I believe that this team is a wooden spoon team, and it just is. It's almost inexplicable to me that they are this bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where if someone told me to sit down and write a 20-inch story on why and when, why and how, I might not be able to finish it. I might just be standing at a blank screen for hours. It's just been a strange season.
Right.
Maybe that's the best way. It's just been strange.
I feel like we can explain how it happened, but not why it happened, right? Like we can talk about the injuries, and we can talk about the changes in the formation, and we can talk about being competitive but not scoring goals or not having the ability to sort of win games when they've sort of had that. Maybe the problem comes to that like last 3 paragraphs or whatever it is why. Like why is that the case in this time? And that's hard. That's harder for me to sort of look, and I don't know that I'll have an answer for it. We watched 2017. I mean, I think there was a game between, and I've talked about this a lot, but there was a game between the LA Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City in 2017 that I swear to God I fell asleep watching. Like the worst soccer I've ever seen in 2017. And it was so bad that you were sitting there going, man, this is horrible. And I have so few of those this year where I'm like, oh yeah, that's not the story of this season for me. 2017, that was the story for me, was how bad the soccer was. 2023, I sit there and go, the soccer wasn't bad. They were injured. They never got healthy, the whole deal. 2024, they stay healthy. They run the table on everybody, but we were questioning that team until they were like almost in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's a cop-out. I genuinely, for 17 years, I've sat here and tried to explain what the LA Galaxy do and how they do it and why it happens and everything that it does. And I can tell you sort of the pieces of it this year, but I can't tell you the core reason, because 16 plus winless streak doesn't compute to me, and it never did during the entire. I was convinced the next one was going to be a win every single time. I'm like, they're not that bad. I've been watching these games; they're not that bad. So it's a real adjustment, I think, mentally for me to try to figure out this team. But it's always good. Anything else, Damon, you like to talk about? Because we can end this, because you and I are going to be hanging out in just a couple days anyway. So
just a couple of days, man. Okay, well, who's going to hang out with me tomorrow at the press conference? Nobody. I'll be there by myself.
I'll probably be on Zoom, so
Okay.
It's that type of thing. But yeah, we'll try to figure out. And Damian, follow him on Twitter/X and at Damian Calhoun, because he does good updates from press conferences. Whenever it's something important, we'll put that out. I'll do that as well, and we'll try to get you guys updated as the LA Galaxy get ready for their first. I don't know if there's their first. There was some CONCACAF Champions Cup games that they were playing in that were must wins, and they didn't win. But this is a must win game that sort of tried to prolong. I'm not even going to say save the season, prolong the season. For the LA Galaxy. 8:45 p.m. again, Apple TV MLS Season Pass on Wednesday, August 20th. The quarterfinals of the Leagues Cup coming up. The LA Galaxy versus Pachuca. Should the LA Galaxy win, they'll be facing the winners of Seattle and Puebla. That semifinal game right now listed as August 26th or 27th. And then should they get through that, the finals of this are on August 31st. Both the final game and the third place match. Should the LA Galaxy advance past Pachuca, they will at least get another game after the semifinal game, because you'll either go to the finals or the third place game. So
one more, just for all madness, all craziness. If they make it to the 31st, they have a game on the 30th. So
they're moving that game. That game.
You gotta play doubleheader. Just play a doubleheader.
Just play a doubleheader. August 30th is the LA Galaxy in Dallas. Yeah. I mean, that's how fast everything's going to wrap up here, Damian. Like, immediately, because you're going to watch the LA Galaxy go from this game on Wednesday night, and then they have a Saturday game that's inside the league against Colorado, and then there's going to be another game. The semifinal game would get played on the 26th or 27th, which is in between that. So that's another midweek game the Galaxy would play between Colorado and Dallas, and then the Galaxy would have to move that game to play in the final or the third place game, because they're both on the same day. So that game, that Dallas game, feels like the one that's getting moved should the Galaxy advance past Pachuca. But all of that being said, the Galaxy have to advance past Pachuca. So you have any predictions that you'd like, or are you going to go no prediction? It's up to you. I'm not putting you on the spot. We call them predictions guaranteed to be wrong, but I'm just...
Let's go crazy here.
Yeah, crazy.
Shootout win.
Ooh, a shootout win.
With McCarthy making... The late sub, John McCarthy, comes in and wins the PK shootout.
Yes. It's so hard against Liga MX teams. I can never tell whether or not they're going to take it for real, or whether they're going to come in at it. I think that means don't bet this game if you're trying to. This is not one that you can know an outcome for.
Bet soccer anyway. Oh, geez. No.
MLS soccer is dude. Although we saw. I think the Miami game, like the Galaxy were like plus 435, and I'm like, that's worth $10-20. Like, that's like, should they pull something off, you're gonna get something out of that. And then I think the draw was like plus 350, and I'm like, the $20 on that is worth it. Like, and then they were at 1-1, and I was like, that wasn't a bad call. Wait, no, there was. Okay, good. Yep, Vegas got it right again. What do you know? I'm thinking the LA Galaxy. I can't trust this team. They lose. They're losing this game. I'll go with a shootout loss, Damian. I think this is a 1-1, 2-2 game. I think this game goes into penalty kick shootouts. I think the Galaxy lose on penalty kick shootouts 6-5. 6-5, that's what I'm calling on penalty kicks. Yeah.
We'll get there at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get there at midnight. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be so much fun. Can't wait. All right. If you are, let's see. We can just wrap this up. Are you good? Everything good?
I don't know. I'm sitting here watching Seattle Reign and Chicago Stars, and Chicago Stars just rallied back from a 3-0 deficit to tie in extra time.
What else could you want? See, soccer's an amazing sport. It is fun, and I'm glad that we get to. I love, by the way, that I get to sit next to you. You're one of my favorite people, Damian. I don't care what Scott French says about you. I like you. So
who is Scott? I haven't seen Scott in years. He doesn't come in the press box anymore.
He was there like 2 weeks ago. I remember. If you're looking for Mr. Damian Calhoun on any of the social medias, it's at Damian Calhoun, and then of course the Southern California News Group. Damian, any websites or anything that we need to hit up for that? SouthernCaliforniaNewsGroup.com or what do you got?
LADailyNews.com, DailyBreeze.com, OrangeCountyRegister.com. They're all the same family. They're all related.
You're right there. Damian does a great job, so please go support him and follow him on all those social medias. If you're looking for me on any of those social medias, it's at Galaxy Podcast, cornerofthegalaxy.com, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, any of those places. Type in Corner of the Galaxy. That's where you can find you. Find us on Thursday. We will be back with a show to recap what happened on Wednesday, get you ready for Saturday. So we are back in the normal throw of things, a Monday, Thursday week, as always. Big round of applause for Mr. Damian Calhoun. Certainly appreciate it. For Damian Calhoun, who's standing in for Mr. Kevin Baxter, who is a Dodgers reporter right now. I am Josh Pato Guesman. You've been listening. You've been watching to Corner of the Galaxy from the box on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. Fans, we thank you for listening, and we ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye.